Hello guys, this is Mortgage Martin. Today I have David Brown, who's a real estate agent with EXP in the greater Sacramento area. David, how's it going?
Doing great, doing great. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah. Awesome to have you here. I think we met a year or two ago through a Facebook group. I think I just started messaging you about real estate here in Sacramento, and I think that's how we originally connected, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, let's get started here. How did you get into this business? What made you want to become a realtor?
So prior to selling real estate, I was in the design, building, and development business. I had a construction business and finance business down in San Diego. Went to school for architecture in Santa Barbara. Designed and built custom homes up there. Moved down to San Diego, started my business, and built homes in La Jolla, Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe, Carlsbad, Encinitas.
Wow.
My dad's been in the business for a long time, and grandfather was an architect builder as well. So it's kind of in my blood. And I
Yeah.
moved up here in 2012 with my wife and two little girls, and I had to start over. And I got into the retail business for a little while as a store manager for Walmart and Sam's Club, and then kind of just made that leap into real estate because I missed kind of what I was doing, and
Yeah.
just being out and helping people with their dreams of buying a home. So I figured, why not do that with all the experience I have? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, here we are almost 5 years later.
Wow, that's awesome. So you originally were a builder, is that correct? Building properties
Yep.
in the South?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So you're probably one of the very few agents that actually has experience walking into a house and being able to notice things that are broken or wrong, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And I know how to fix it too.
Yeah.
Promise you
The
that.
one-stop shop, right? That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like anybody that buys a home from me or sells a home from me, I'm going to tell you what's good and bad about your property.
Yeah, that's
And
that's
how you're
cool.
going to
That's
benefit you getting a good deal on it.
Yeah, that's definitely a good background to have, right, in this industry. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, how can you as an agent help first-time home buyers?
Well, with this market, the way that it's kind of working, I've done a lot of actually first-time homebuyer lead generation on Facebook.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
you'll get a majority of those coming in. A lot of them are either going to do minimum down, 3.5%,
Yeah.
3%, or potentially going 100% financing, but your credit's got to be pretty spot on for that. So, in a tough market, I know when 2020 hit, after the pandemic started, I really kind of geared up as much as I could. I started working with a lot of first-time home buyers during that time. It
Yeah.
was really competitive. I probably would write between 25 and 30 offers per client.
Wow.
Um, but I actually managed to get several first-time home buyers into contract with having their closing costs paid for them by the seller,
Nice.
coming in with good offers, zero down,
Yeah.
um, negotiating a good deal for them and to get them started on their home ownership. So
Wow.
kind of what I would do to help them is you just got to be relentless in writing offers and
Yeah.
kind of guide them through the whole process and tell them what they need to look for and set out that expectation forefront. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and writing offers, I mean, that takes a while, right? It's not like, I mean, most of it's templatized, but still not easy, right? It still takes a good amount of time to put that package together.
I kind of write them very similar in every offer that I
Okay.
write.
Yeah.
A few terms here and there that you need to be able to do, but if you weren't writing 20 to 30 plus offers for each one of your clients through the last year and a half, you weren't getting any deals done,
Wow.
especially,
Yeah.
properties going 25, 30K over asking, and then getting somebody that's a first time home buyer into something like that. You
Yeah.
just not give up and keep them on the same page as you to not give up. So it's kind of what I
Yeah.
did.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. Well, on the flip side, what makes you special as an agent, being able to help sellers?
um, I would just say that being honest,
Yeah.
first and foremost.
Yeah.
Um, when I started in real estate, uh, I had no sphere of influence up here.
Mhm.
A majority of my contacts were in Southern California, and so I had to kind of try to find the easiest way to find clients, and that was expired listings. And
That's right.
most of the expired listings that you tend to deal with are people that have tried to sell their home, usually with multiple agents,
Yeah.
with no success. So I just kind of was honest with them and let them know, about my experience and my background and what makes me different than just your typical agent. And like I said, I was honest with them about, some agents will just say, hey, what do you want for your house? And they'll go with that. And then their house sits on the market and then
Yeah.
they don't end up selling and their plans, get messed up for where they want to go. So just
That-
being honest with them first and foremost, letting them know my expectations and being straightforward with them on price and where we need to go to market, what I think will get people in there. And then, I'm very relentless with my marketing plan. I've got a lot of attention to details when I'm there. Right now I'm working with a client. He's getting ready to move to Texas, and he's got a home, in El Dorado Hills that's under $1 million, but needs some work. And he had that place within 2 weeks, and I was there several times a week, kind of going through everything, telling them what we need to do and what the expectation of when people are going to come in this home, what they're going to look for. And if we go into market with that, we're not going to get the attention that we need and get them to Texas. So
Yeah.
just paying attention to those details and being open and honest and being there for them and kind of walking them through those expectations and notes and going back and making sure this has been done and that's been done. Um,
Yeah.
One of the things I learned in retail, which was kind of huge for me, was being a servant leader. And so I think in real estate or even in your business, it's not really about you, it's more about your client. And so
Yeah.
you try to lead them as a servant to them,
Yeah.
guiding them in the best possible direction that not just benefits that, you're not there to benefit yourself, you're there to benefit them.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's helped me out a lot. And then just my overall knowledge of the home. I designed and built custom homes ranging from 3,000 up to 25,000 square feet. So
Um,
kind of been there, done that. I could walk into any home and know what you're going to go up against and
yeah.
just lay it out for them and say, this is what we could come up with. And, this is what people are going to look for and how much it's going to cost for them to do that. So I kind of narrow those expectations, and I've been successful with that so far.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I think one thing that most sellers might not realize is the amount of pre-work that goes into getting a property ready to list. You got to go in, I don't want to say nitpick, but you need to find everything that's wrong with the property, right? Before you go to an open house, right? Because you don't want people to walk in and nitpick the property, right? Oh, there's holes in the walls, or this is broken, that's broken. So there is a lot of prep work that, goes into this, before
Yeah.
you.
And just knowing the details of every bit of the property, what can be done, what can't be done,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
my clients kind of range from abroad, from the normal homeowner to commercial investors to house flippers to residential, investors. So
Yeah.
you kind of just need to know every bit about that property and be able to speak to that, because everybody's out to get a deal. So when you're a listing agent, it's about really getting your client top dollar in
Yeah.
that market condition and
Yeah. Really understanding the value.
knowing those details and knowing how to combat those rebuttals from, or objections from buyers,
Yeah. Yeah.
bringing value.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
Um, Last question here. What was a challenging deal that you've gone through, and how did you help resolve it?
I could name a couple. I would say one of the most challenging deals that I had was with a client that lived in Placerville. He was one of my first clients. I talked to this guy for about 6 months. before he allowed me to list his home. And, I live in Lincoln, he lives in Placerville. So it was an hour drive for me there. And
Yeah.
typically you would email somebody your information and, comps and everything on their property. He specifically said, if you want to work with me, you can mail it to me. So I mailed it to him, a whole package. He got it. And he was a forensic accountant for the state of California. So he was very thorough,
Yeah.
very skeptical. He had been on the market with 4 other agents.
Yeah.
He had originally started at just under $1 million. And the agents that he was working with, I mean, he had, before I got the property, let's just put it this way, it had been on the market in 3 years, over 1,000 days. So a
Wow.
little over 3 years on the market with
Crazy.
about 1,000 days on market. So when I got in there, he was a little skeptical about, hey, are you going to be able to get me the price that I want? I said, well, it's all determining on what you expect. I said, this is where we're at in the market. I think you got a beautiful property. It was on 10 acres, but he
Wow.
designed and built a house in 1983 and didn't do any updating
Oh yeah.
at all. So, and wasn't really willing to budge. He put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and money into that property. He had a vineyard,
Wow.
10 acres, great well, great
Yeah.
location. But so I ended up, putting it together for him. We were on the market, and we originally listed it at 780.
Yeah.
And he had gone to Europe, was gone for about a month and a half, comes back. Why don't we have any offers? I said, well, look, I think we're kind of overpriced, and I think we need to, the market's telling us, hey, we need to make a price reduction. So I got him to go down to 749, which he totally was not happy about. And I just said, we got to be realistic about this. And so then, we kept it going on the market. And finally, after about 160 days on the market, we just were coming into right before COVID happened.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm going on a trip for a month. I'm going to be on a cruise to Antarctica.
Wow.
I'll be in South America for 2 weeks prior to that. And then we get on our boat at the tip of South America. And then we sail to Antarctica. And you'll only be able to get in touch with me via email. So if you don't have my house sold by then when I come back, then I'm probably just going to pull it off the market. And I had spent driving from Lincoln,
Yeah.
going to this guy's house, back and forth showings. He didn't want to have a lockbox on the property. So anytime I got a showing, it was, I got to go there. And I had people coming from Florida and all over the place to come look at it. Finally, I get this guy that calls me from the Bay Area and says, hey, I got a client that loves this home, and came out. I drove out there, I met with him, showed him it, and explained everything to him. And he said, hey, he really wants to put in an offer, but we're not going to be at 715. So he comes in and writes me an offer at 700K. And I knew that my seller was going to have pretty much an outer body experience. And I had to do this through email with him. And I just said, look, I got your buyer, but he's at 700K. And I think if we counter him, he'll buy all the equipment from you, and I can get you out the door with probably what we listed at, with the equipment gone and sold, and you can get to Arizona and do your thing. And so I countered him back at 725 plus another 25K for the equipment. And I said, he's not going to go any more than that.
Yeah.
And we sent it over, and they accepted it. And,
Wow.
I ended up getting him to go to Arizona, and he bought a house there. And I mean, this guy was beyond ecstatic.
Yeah.
And it was just the toughest deal that I had to do. And this guy had such a high expectation of me, and I just was so happy that I was able to do it and accomplish that for him. And
Yeah.
kind of gave me the confidence of, hey, I can handle these bigger dollar listings and
Yeah.
deliver. And I just being
Yeah.
persistent, I did that,
Yeah.
And I would say another probably tough deal would just be the writing multiple offers during COVID.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were giving up because there's no inventory, and
Yeah.
I just was relentless during that whole time. I got a wife going to college, 2 little girls that depend on me on a single income, and
Yeah.
it was either give up or write multiple offers. So,
Yeah.
those buyers depended on me to find homes, and I never gave up. I spent hours and hours and hours and hours just writing offers to get it done, and I did it. So
Yeah, that's good. You got to do what you got to do, right? That's
yeah,
all.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think one thing I really noticed from chatting with you is persistence, right? You mentioned that you've kept in contact with these buyers or sellers, and you haven't gave up, right? You've kept in contact with the seller. Maybe they're not ready to sell right away, but maybe just building that relationship, and when they are ready, them, contacting you being their guy to be the one to list their property. I think persistence is definitely key in this business, right?
Yeah, you just got to follow up and
Yeah,
not give up.
yeah, that's awesome.
I got a why every day, so
Right,
you know,
that's great.
I got the
Perfect.
why.
Yeah. Well, as we close out here, I want to thank you again for being on the show, and also wanted to see what would be the best way for listeners to be able to reach you.
You can reach me via email. That would be David.brown at exprealty.com. You can also go to my website at www.davidbrown.exprealty.com. You can also reach me at my phone number, which is 916-291-2909. And you can also reach me on Facebook or LinkedIn as well,
Awesome.
under NorCal Home Finder.
Awesome. Great. Well, I'll put that in the show notes. And yeah, I want to thank you again, David, for being on the show. It was great having you. Thank you so much.
Definitely, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Have a
See ya.
great Friday.
Bye.
Thank you.